Hello everybody, welcome to my channel, Nanna-M. My name is Lynn. If you're new, a very warm welcome to you, and if you are a returning subscriber, it's lovely to see you back. Today's video is the second part of Tommy telling his stories. I'm going to leave the link to the first video below in case you wanted to go back and just catch up on where we left off, just to remind yourself. And we left off the last lot of stories where I'd said to Tommy, was talking about the wartime, and I'd said to Tommy, is that where you learnt to drive? And so this new video is where he tells me that story about when he learnt to drive. So if that's something you think you might be interested in, please do. Make yourself a cuppa, put your feet up, relax, and listen to the lovely Tommy telling his stories. So I'll see you at the end. So remember, this is where I've just asked Tommy, is that where you learnt to drive? Enjoy. Yeah. Was it when you were in the army that you learnt to drive?
Yeah, that was funny, was that? You'll never believe it. Well, you have to believe it because I passed my test.
My neck's hurting, so I'm going to sit like this, Tommy, but I'm listening. Go on.
So what happened? We were stationed in Burscough. That's towards Southport, and it was a transfer camp. You went from there to other camps, distributed to other camps, and our name came up on the notice board. Me and another guy. The guy was called Paternoster, right? And he came from Liverpool.
What a funny name.
So we looked at this poster. I'd never met Paternoster, but he saw his name on this poster board and my name were on. I thought, where am I going now? Because they were posting them. The Korea War was on. They were posting them to Korea. But anyway, I thought, well, where am I going? And in actual fact, we were going to Birkenhead. Well, that's only just across the Mersey. And I said to Paternoster, where the bloody hell's Birkenhead? And he says, it's very near where I live. He says, I only live in Liverpool. So, right, we went to Birkenhead. And I'll not go into too long a story, but I was there 14 months. And eventually nobody knew where I was at the end of the day. But before that, I learned to drive on this camp, because I drove the vehicle all the way around this camp time and time again. We had to go to another camp for our meals and our pay. And it were just me and this Paternoster, nobody else. We had a little billet of our own. And I think what it used to be an officer's billet. And there were 2 beds in it. And so we got this. There was a carpet, an armchair, a radio, fireplace. They were luxury, and thought, this is grand. This is. We were only there because he was the driver, and we were supposed to go to through Kidderminster into Worcester or somewhere to pick up a big vehicle, a maintenance vehicle. I'll never forget. And we had to go there to pick this vehicle up, and I think that's what we were only supposed to be doing. But we got this vehicle back. Nobody sent for us. Mm-hmm. We just carried on, going to this other camp for our meals, our pay. Nobody bothered us. We were just carrying on in luxury. It was a territorial camp where the territorials used to be people that had been in the war, and they had to go to this night training, right? And that's what the camp was all about. So we just enjoyed him, and I finished up. I had to. This officer, he was a very, very nice bloke. He was a major, and I had to drive. He said, "You can drive." I said, "Yes." I said, "But I haven't passed my test." And he said, "Right." He said, "You can drive me wherever I have to go." So I had to drive him around through Liverpool. I had no driving license in the roads in Liverpool. So obviously I had a pretty hard test. What I mean by that, I didn't know I were on my test or anything. So what they used to do, they had an L plate in the army, but it used to be named driver under instruction. So I had one of them on the vehicle, right? And I've been taking him around Liverpool for 2 months, 3 months. And we got back to the camp gates, and he said, we got inside the camp, and he said, "Right, we can take that driver instructions sign away." He says, "And you now have passed your test." And I thought, "Oh, very nice, very good." No, nothing else, just that.
Just that.
So that was my test.
And you got your license.
And I've been driving ever since. And I'm still driving.
Yeah, you are, aren't you?
Yeah. Yeah.
So did you end up staying there?
Yes, I stayed there. Paternoster got demobbed before me. And so when your demob time was up, you always had a record yourself of your demob date. So what happened, Paternoster went back to Burscough to get demobbed. Now what they said to him, I've no idea. He must have told them where he'd been. But that was a few months before I was demobbed. My date came. So when my date came, I went back to Burscough. I went in this office, and I think he was a lieutenant. He came out and he said, "Right, come on in." Mm-hmm. And he says, "Name?" I said, "Mason," yeah, right. "Number," and so on, yeah. "Right," he said, and he's looking through the documents, and he said, "Where the bloody hell have you been for the last 14 months? I said, "I've been to Burton Head." And he said, "Well, what have you been doing?" I said, I've been driving, actually, most of the time, driving for an officer, a major." "Ah," and he said, "Well, there's no record here of you." He said, "Some heads are going to have to roll about this." He says, "Anyway," he said, "right, your mob date is there." He said, "So we have the record of when you had to go into the army. It was conscription. We had to go in, right?" And so he said, "Right, the mob will come through. You can go home on Friday." So that was my army career. But let me tell you, the 6 weeks training was hell on earth, because it wasn't like it is today. You were treated like an animal. You were just a number, and you were treated like animals during the 6 weeks training. But you know, the funny thing about it, at the end of the 6 weeks, we got a little bit of respect from the NCOs, the corporals, and the sergeant, and we did get a bit of respect, because they started softened in the last week or so, because they knew we were going. We'd then be transferred to somewhere else. So they almost turned human towards the end of the 6 weeks.
Do you think, looking back, do you think there's a reason for the way that they treated you now?
The reason why?
Do you think that there was a reason for them treating you so badly?
Yes, the discipline.
The discipline, and to make you like sturdy and strong. And...
Yes, the discipline was absolutely right on the nail. You had to obey every little order. They'd say, "You are a flaming idiot. What are you? What are you?" And you to answer it. Yeah. It was 6 weeks of terror. It was.
Yeah, I can imagine.
But,
yeah.
You know, at the end, it was funny. I just wish at the end, you'll never believe this, but I wished at the end that I could do it all over again.
Yeah.
Those 6 weeks.
Really?
Yeah, because, and you see, what happened, I never got in trouble. I never stepped forward. And you don't volunteer for anything in the army. You've probably watched Dad's Army on the television, where Corporal Jones is always volunteering.
Mm-hmm.
Nah, you didn't volunteer for anything. Only an idiot would volunteer. And but at the end, yes, I could cope with everything, and I didn't get myself in trouble. And I think I told you the story about being able to prepare your kit on the bed.
Yeah.
I told you. What happened, you had to prepare your kit on the bed every morning before you went anywhere to lay the tin with mess tins, knife, fork, spoon, mess tins, and you had what they called a housewife. It was a little cloth pouch with needles and cotton for mending socks in this pouch. And that's what they call the housewife.
You've still got a darning thing, haven't you?
Yeah, and I learned to darn.
Darn your socks.
And sometime I'll show you something.
Yeah.
Even I still like darning now. And I only darn these socks because I just like darning.
Yeah.
Because pair of socks, I must have 50 in the drawer.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
my grandma showed me how to do it on that mushroom thing.
yeah. Anyway, so the sergeant came in every morning, well, at the very beginning, first week, and to look at the kit, how it was supposed to be laid out. And he walks up we're in the beds, either side of the barrack room. There was probably about 8 each side. And he walked up one side and looked, and then walked back down the other side and looked. And then he walked back up my side, and this is true, I can't believe it. And he said, "Well, I have never seen as much rubbish in all my life." He says, "And what will happen tonight?" He said, "You will lay this kit out before you are able to go to bed, and I want to see it as it should be." And he stood by my bed, and he turned and he said, "Now this is nearly there." And he turned to me, he says, "What's your name, soldier?" I said, "Mason." He said to me, "Well, you have nearly made it." He says, "So all that I can say, I want the rest of you to see it's something like this. Not exactly like this, but something like this." And I'll never forget it.
So what did you have to do differently to make it perfect?
Well,
Did you know at the time or not?
Well, what you had to do, you had to fold your blankets. You only had blankets, you didn't have sheets.
No.
And you had 3 blankets. I think you had 3 blankets. No, you had 4 blankets. And you want to put underneath you and the rest on top or whatever. And what you had to do, you had to wrap it into a square shape. Perfect square shape with these 3 blankets in the middle, folded neatly at either side. So you're representing a perfect square. And I found out how to do it.
Right.
And that was part of the setup. That because they looked obviously at them. You had to fold every morning. You had to fold your what they call the palliasse. You had to fold it up and put it, and it was half of the bed, right? And then you had to put your folded blankets at the back of the bed, and then all the other kit was on the bed, the spring bed, where you had to lay out your kit, and that's how it was. And I suppose by saying how I've managed to fold these blankets and saying that's what probably how, because all the others were all over the place.
Were they?
Oh, they were in a right mess.
Were they?
Yeah. There were one guy, very quickly, he wouldn't, he was never clean. And they went to him and he said, well, he said, I'm afraid you were going to have to be scrubbed. And it's what called the army scrub. And what happened, they took him to the latrines and they stripped him off and they scrubbed him. But he didn't make it because he was just some kind of rogue. And how he was brought up, I've no idea. But he was discharged.
Yeah.
Nah, couldn't.
Couldn't make the grade.
No, couldn't make it. Anyway, whether he was, I don't think he was pretending because that was just his nature.
Yeah.
That was how he was.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, excuse me again.
Cheers. Cheers. Shall I tell you how long we've been doing?
Yeah.
This time, because I stopped it, didn't it, when
Yeah.
that chappie came. So this time, 40 minutes, 29 seconds. So what have we got before that, I wonder?
The last time?
No, I mean before I switched it off when that man
Oh,
came.
I don't know. You're out fed up with us, I don't know. But...
No, they won't be. But we'll do a bye-bye and then we'll just keep filming and then that can go for the next one. If you know what I mean?
I'll just tell you this other story. I'll tell you I'm full of it. I don't stop, you know. It was back on the farm. That was when we were getting older. I must have been about 14-year-old then. And this friend of mine, he got a tandem. So he brought it up to the farm and he said, well, you know that it was just a rough lane. So he said, I'd like to come on the back of this tandem. I said, well, we can't ride it round here. I said, but wait a minute. I said, the next farm, higher, is just round the bend. And it was an ash pad, and there was an iron gate at the bottom of this lane. The lane that came round the bend. Now an iron gate, I think you'll remember, it's a very thin barred gate. And so when he said, we'll walk up to the next farm and then you can get on the back and we can come down this lane. And I said, right. So when we set off, this gate was open. So we went right up this lane, around this bend. And so while we're up there, the wind must have blown this gate too. So we came round this bend and he never saw it. Well, he hit the gate full blast. And we both went over the top of this gate. And I landed straight on top of him at the other side of the gate. And he was moaning and groaning. And I just got up. I felt like I'd just thrown myself on the bed. And he said, and that's absolutely true.
Oh dear. Bless him. Like a mattress.
perhaps you may want another story. Another funny story.
I'm just going to get some more water, Tommy.
Okay.
You carry on, you're all right.
Yeah.
Everybody's listening to you.
You know that Lynn is my beloved daughter-in-law, and we've always been able to speak to each other and been able to tell each other stories. To tell you honest truth, as I said before, not everyone prefers to listen to the stories. A lot of people wouldn't find them funny, but I've always liked to amuse people. I've always liked to make people laugh if I could. And all right, yeah, we all have our sad stories, but sad stories to me are not something I prefer to do. I'd rather talk to someone that likes to listen, like the granddaughter. She's lovely, and she likes to. She can sit here for hours listening to the stories and the funny stories and so on.
Yeah. She's coming tomorrow, isn't she?
Yeah, she comes out once a week. Yeah.
Comes and has her tea.
Yeah.
Grandad makes a tea for her.
Right, let's just have a look if I can find a funny story. There was we have a club very close to us, and it's called the Bottom Club.
Yeah.
And going back years ago, back in the 1970s, the clubs then was very popular because there were the one-armed bandits. There was the ladies used to play the one-armed bandits, and the one-armed bandits kept the club going.
I love a one-armed bandit.
Yeah, and there was plenty of money put in. There were the old threepenny bits, and then they moved to the sixpence. Anyway, so at this club, it was the small towns club, and it was called Parkview, and we had all sorts of parties, dress-up parties, old-time music hall, and all this business. And we had an Halloween night, and people had to dress up in Halloween clothes. And there was a neighbour. They were all good friends, and there was a neighbour who lived just on the main road at the top of the avenue, and she went dressed up to go as a witch to this party, to this Halloween night, and she was quite good. And her husband said, I'm not going. I don't want to go to with all women dressed up as witches. No, I'm not going. So she went, and so the night went on, and it was a really good night, and time for clothes, and she went back home, and she said to her husband when she got in, "Do you know something?" She says, "I've won the second prize." And he says, "Second prize? You should have gone as normally you'd have won first prize." And that is true.
Cheeky monkey, isn't he? What's you saying that?
Yeah.
Should have gone as yourself.
There was another story about. I'm trying to point the area out. It was GEC. We had a works at GEC, and at the GC, you could come out of the back gate.
Just a lot of people will be abroad, Tommy,
Will they?
that watch this. So you'd have to explain that the GEC was like a big industrial
Industrial area.
area. So
Yeah.
that's what the GEC is. It's
There
a
were
big
many.
industrial
There were
area.
many works on GC.
For anybody that's, not from around our
business.
area. Yeah.
And there was perhaps 30 in each building, working in each building, separate buildings. And I had about 14 ladies working for me. I was the foreman. And there was a big front gate where all the security was, and you could come out of the back gate. And there was only one security there, but there was no problem. The gates were open during the day and at night until the works closed. So as you come out of this back gate, there's the park, what's it called? Anyway, the park right next to it. And you could walk through this park. So there was a lady, she always took a shortcut through this park. Well, obviously, it was pitch dark. And it was said there was a guy jumping out from the trees towards these women. I believe he had already jumped out at one, maybe a couple, I've no idea. So this lady's husband said to her, right, he said, tomorrow when you go to work, he said, you come through the park, he says, and I'll be in the park and I'll be waiting for him. He said, and we'll trap him. So she came out of the works and took this shortcut through the park, and it was pitch dark. So she walked through this park, nothing happened. She walked through the park and went up to get into Barn Street. She unlocked the door and walked in, and her husband was fast asleep on the settee. She says, you swine!
Just imagine, though, it's a good job nothing happened, isn't it?
Mm.
Eh?
Yeah, she said, you swine! I could have been attacked, and you weren't there.
Fast asleep on settee.
She said, I'd never walked through the park if I'd have known that you were...
No, flipping heck. And this is a woman that works for you?
work for me, yeah.
Yeah.
Mm.
Some funny things go on in this world.
Yeah. I have some nice people working for me.
Yeah.
Yeah, some nice ladies, and all right, there were some not just quite up to scratch, but most of them, there was a couple that could do anything that a man could do. It was a press shop, and there were big sheets of metal, and it were two people that had to put this sheet of metal into this machine and put their foot on the pedal for it to pierce holes in. And these two women could do it every bit as good as the man. Oh yeah, they were very good. They were.
Were they big women?
No, they were just normal size, and
Average.
yeah, and in actual fact, as we all retired, I used the con club. I used to go up on Saturday night, and there were concerts, for artists on, and I used to call the numbers back, bingo numbers, so these women, a couple of these women that used to work for me, they came in, they started to come in, and they managed to get sat near me because they'd work for me, and there were more women than men. And these two women were sat close to me, and they said, "He were our boss, you know. Tommy were our boss." And so one of these women said to me, "Were they good workers?" I said, "They were bloody rubbish." And they said, "You what? You what?" From we weren't, he thought the world of us. Yeah. Yeah.
I'll stop it, Tommy. So this is another episode of Tommy telling his tales, and they're all true, every single one of them. So I'd like to say a massive thank you to you all for watching, won't we, Tommy? And listening.
Yes.
And thank you for such lovely comments that you left on the last one. They were amazing.
Yeah, well, I was absolutely amazed at
Yeah.
that. I didn't believe that anybody would be interested in whatever I had to say, you know. So
It's amazing how many people said you should write a book. A lot of people said you should write a book of all your stories.
Possibly, but
I'm getting them all on film, aren't I?
I'm a storyteller. I'm not really a writer, really. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Anyway, I'm very pleased to talk to you again. Very pleased.
And we will be back, won't we, Tommy?
Yeah, we will.
Most definitely. So thank you. What do I need to say? If you've enjoyed it, please would you give us a thumbs up? Would you subscribe if you're not subscribed already? Leave us an emoji in the comments section and hit the notification bell and set it to all, and that way you won't miss an upload. So from me and from Tommy, see you on the next one. Bye for now.